A quiet funeral is held for a 17-year-old boy named Phi. His short life ends too soon. Those who knew him remember his weak health, saying his passing came as no surprise. Beside him lies his favorite slow life novel, a final tribute to his love for peaceful stories. Family and friends look to the sky, silently wishing the fantasy worlds he cherished could be real. Phi opens his eyes with a hollow above his head, standing in a strange realm of broken pillars. In front of him rises a towering hourglass, and confusion clouds his mind. From the light descends a majestic winged figure, declaring this place to be the land of reincarnation. The guide explains it is a doorway to countless worlds. To their shock, Phi instantly understands, his quick recognition leaving the guide unsettled as cold sweat runs down his face. But fear quickly turns to tears of joy. For the first time he realizes his dream of reincarnation is real. The angel watches uneasily as Phi bursts with excitement, celebrating his unusual fate, while other souls laugh at his reaction. When the guide begins to explain divine blessings, Phi interrupts, already demanding to know if he will be granted a powerful skill. Flustered, the angel leads him to a chair. Phi sits, trembling with anticipation, as the celestial being pushes the plain wooden seat toward a massive cosmic scale. Together they wait. A glowing particle drifts down into the device, signaling the arrival of his blessing. The divine message is revealed. His power is the unlockability, a skill to open any cursed chest or sealed weapon, a key to legendary treasures. Phi stares at the glowing symbol, realizing his gift is useful but far from overwhelming. His dream of an easy life shatters as he cries out in despair, surrounded by visions of endless locked chests. He drops to his knees, cursing his fate, wondering how such a skill could ever make him a hero. Yet in time, adventurers and treasure seekers hunt for his rare talent. Days later, a bespectacled researcher approaches, speaking of a discovery that could change everything. He leads Phi into ancient ruins, guiding him through halls of stone until a massive dormant golem appears before their eyes. The sight leaves Phi frozen in awe. The man reveals he too is a reincarnator, and in 20 years of searching he has never encountered such a wonder. The boy listens, his excitement burning once more. The researcher explains that a powerful seal binds the golem, and only Phi's gift can release it. Phi agrees, eager to prove the worth of his blessing. The researcher nods in satisfaction, asking only to see the legendary machine awaken. With determination, Phi summons the glowing key and presses it against the ancient seal. Magic surges through the ruins as the golem stirs from its eternal slumber. Stone shifts, metal roars, and the great Manhwa River rises to full height, majestic and commanding. Triumph lights Phi's eyes as he prepares to greet his new ally. But before he can speak, a brutal shove drives him forward. The researcher's warm smile vanishes, replaced by cold cruelty and a blade pressed against Phi's back. The man mocks him, revealing a cruel truth. Whoever unseals the golem is its master, but if that person dies, the loyalty transfers to another. Bleeding and pinned to the floor, Phi curses his betrayer. The golem's heavy voice echoes through the chamber, announcing readiness to receive orders. Without hesitation, the researcher claims ownership. Calling himself the true master, Phi, choking on blood, roars in defiance. He commands Manhwa River to see the man as the enemy. Realizing Phi still breathes, the researcher raises his blade for the final strike. But before it falls, the golem's colossal hammer swings down, crushing him with unstoppable force. Calmly, Manhwa declares the threat eliminated and awaits her next command. She turns to Phi, but the boy lies motionless on the cold floor. She calls out, but no answer comes. The ancient guardian stands in silence, keeping watch over the master who gave her life. In the blink of an eye, Phi awakens again, hollow glowing, standing once more among broken pillars. The majestic guide stares in disbelief, stunned by his sudden return. Phi gazes at the giant hourglass without recognition, confused all over again. The angel explains that unjustly killed souls are sent onward, but frustration cracks her voice. She demands to know why he has come back so soon. Phi shouts in anger, "He was killed again." When she asks if he is still unsatisfied, he declares with certainty that he is. He demands god-tier cheat abilities, strong enough to slay dragons in a single strike. The angel is left speechless, baffled by his strange words that sound more like games than destiny. With a fierce glare, Phi declares that nothing less than being fully overpowered will ever satisfy him. The weary guide warns that blessings are chosen at random, but he refuses to listen. Frustration grows as she reminds him this is the land of reincarnation, scolding him for lacking any sense of gratitude. Ignoring her words, he drops into the chair and impatiently demands to be sent once more. Clasping his hands, he prays to the universe for a true cheat skill this time. Reluctantly, the guide activates the device again. A new blessing appears called Provoke. Phi immediately senses its weakness. His second reincarnation grants him the aggro draw skill, forcing all enemies to target him. In an instant he knows this is not a gift but a death sentence. Days later, his strange power proves useful when he lures a dragon away from a helpless village. Yet as the beast bears down on him, he screams in despair, knowing this is far from the overpowered life he imagined. Suddenly a cat-like girl floats down from the sky, calling his name. She casually asks if he is playing tag, unaware of the danger. Panicked, Fi confirms, explaining the prize is nothing less than his own survival. With a sigh, the girl named Tuko decides to join the game. In a burst of overwhelming force, she crushes the dragon completely. She turns to check on Fi, making sure her new playmate has survived. Fi lies on the ground, exhausted but alive, and manages to thank her. A memory flashes back to their childhood, both born on the same day and raised side by side. He remembers when he was the strong one, protecting a timid Tuko from bullies and stray dogs. Now the roles have reversed, with her saving him effortlessly from a dragon. Jealousy stirs in his chest, but before he can speak, the rustle of bushes grabs their attention. Another dragon bursts forth, charging directly at them. Fi reacts on instinct, shoving Tuko aside and throwing himself into danger. His skill activates, dragging the monster's focus onto him alone. Tuko watches from the sidelines as Fi curses his rotten luck, drawing the beast away with no hope of victory. As he runs, he laments that he cannot even have the dignity of a heroic ending. The dragon overwhelms him, and he accepts death with a bitter heart. A massive explosion ends his second life. His third reincarnation begins, granting him clairvoyance, a gift that reveals distant places and glimpses of the near future. This time, Fi becomes a strategist, guiding a legendary hero all the way to the Demon Lord's castle. The hero returns victorious but exhausted, never realizing how vital Fi's guidance was. Tears sting Fi's eyes as he complains, wishing the final strike had been his. The hero king named Bren comforts him, assuring him their story is not yet finished. Fi clenches his fist, vowing that next time the glory will belong to him. Bren smiles, trusting his companion without hesitation. Suddenly, Fi's vision ignites with a chilling sight. The Demon Lord stirs upon its throne, its ruined body glowing with destructive energy. With a roar it rises, charging to unleash a final desperate attack. Bren freezes in shock, but Fi throws himself forward, pushing the king aside and taking the full blast. He collapses, cursing his own recklessness, watching his strength fade as Bren cries out in anguish. Grinding his teeth, Fi rages at his fate, furious that this life too is ending before he can claim true power. Darkness swallows his vision as his third life closes. In his fourth reincarnation, he awakens with high-speed regeneration, an ability that heals wounds instantly. At last, Fi enjoys a long and peaceful life. He grows old surrounded by children and grandchildren, finally passing away in the warmth of his family. His granddaughter Luyubal weeps, begging him not to leave them. His son holds his hand, thanking him for everything, remembering the day Fi adopted him and gave him a family. Fi smiles, telling them that being with them made him the happiest man alive. Luyubal swears to become a master mage and bring him back, but he gently refuses. He says he has lived fully, though one regret still lingers, that he never knew the life of a truly overpowered hero. With his final breath, Fi opens his eyes to find himself young again, halo glowing. Standing once more in the realm of broken pillars, the guide appears, shocked at his return, then angrily shows him the vision of his peaceful death, and demands an explanation. With a wild look, Fi admits that even in the end, he still longed to be overpowered. Furious, the guide shoves him into the chair, scolding him for blocking the line of waiting souls. Exhausted by his antics, she waves him off, eager to send him away without another word. In his fifth life, Fi realizes she cast him out without even telling him his new skill. Using only the powers of his past lives, he works as little more than a chore boy for a powerful adventurer party. His teammates grow impatient, complaining about their slow guide. The leader orders Fi to collect the loot while the rest take a break. As he gathers items, he laments quietly, knowing his support abilities will never make him a true frontline hero. The cheerful mage waves to him, deciding to help, with the knight joining her. Before they reach the stairs, the wall above them shatters. A massive centipede-like monster bursts out of a swirling vortex, its body gleaming with metallic plates. The mage recognizes the creature's teleportation, while the leader realizes in horror that this is an S-rank threat. The beast surges down the stairway, forcing the leader to shout for retreat. The mage and knight freeze, paralyzed with fear, the mage stumbling as she falls. The knight yells for Fi to escape, but he refuses, declaring he is done being nothing more than an errand boy. The leader seizes his frozen companions, dragging them away in panic. The party abandons Fi without a second thought, leaving him alone to face the S-rank monster. Fi stands trembling, his dream of being the kind of hero who could crush such a beast with one strike mocking him like a cruel joke. Frustration twists his face as every failure of his past life surges back. Once again, he is nothing more than bait. Despair floods him, his vision blurring with tears as hopelessness consumes him. He questions the meaning of these endless reincarnations. Alone in the darkness, voices from his past lives echo. One reminds him that his true strength is his refusal to quit. Another teases, asking if he forgot his wish for a stylish ending. A third recalls his promise to finally stand as the hero of the tale. A final voice, soft and kind, urges him to live without regrets. With their words surrounding him, his resolve ignites once again. He braces himself, calling upon the hidden blessing of his fifth life. A memory surfaces, the guide's casual remark that she forgot something. His eyes widen as a blazing summoning circle erupts beneath his feet. The guide's voice echoes faintly, revealing the power she had never told him of. His true blessing is summoning. Light bursts forth as his strongest allies from past lives appear at his side. The ancient golem Manhwa River awakens first, revealing her true nature as the incomplete god. She launches herself at the monstrous centipede, crushing it with devastating force. Tyuko follows, her power over dragons crackling as she charges with playful fury. The Hero King steps forward, blade in hand, his stern gaze fixed on the enemy as he prepares a strike that shakes the dungeon itself. A final figure descends, the super high elf Lulubel, radiating magic beyond anything Fi remembers. She releases a focused beam of energy, joining her strength to the assault. Together they unleash chaos upon the monster, overwhelming it completely. Fi stands in awe, watching his four legendary allies gathered once more. Tyuko laughs, teasing that her favorite playmate is finally showing his worth. The Hero King smirks, admitting he would not miss seeing Fi at center stage. Manhwa greets him with unchanging devotion, her loyalty eternal across lifetimes. Fi rushes to them, treasuring their reunion. With pride blazing in his eyes, he declares that with this legendary team at his side, he will finally prove what it means to be truly overpowered. Surrounded by the strongest allies of every life, he claims with certainty that this will be his final reincarnation. Fi grins and thanks his summoned allies, ready to fight by their side again. But the cheerful moment is cut short by an unexpected twist. The Hero King celebrates loudly while the others look on with confusion and curiosity. Suddenly Lulubel rushes forward and hugs him warmly, calling him Grandpa. She teases him about his smaller body and familiar scent, leaving him flustered. He awkwardly reminds her that he is technically a teenager again. Tyuko watches with a playful smile, and asks if he had been married in a past life. Fi shakes his head and explains that he never married and was never related to Lulubel by blood. Tyuko thinks about this with wide eyes, before cheerfully deciding to celebrate his possible marriage by flicking his forehead. Before he can respond, the Hero King Bren grabs him from behind in a loud and dramatic reunion. Bren leans in and excitedly asks how he has been. Fi replies that he has been well and returns the question. Bren admits with a nervous laugh that he wasted all of his reward money after defeating the Demon Lord. Embarrassed, he explains how he once went on a drunken castle buying spree that left him buried in debt. With a thumbs up, he declares he is relieved to be summoned, since it saves him from debt collectors. Fi finally turns his attention to the ancient golem Manhwa River. Her tone is formal and respectful. She lowers her head slightly and expresses regret for never having the chance to thank him properly. Recognition sparks in Fi as he recalls his first death and realizes she is grateful for being freed from her ancient seal. Manhwa solemnly pledges her loyalty and promises to follow his every command. Fi gently checks on her well-being. She explains that she has been guarding the ruin ever since his death. She seems surprised when he suggests she should also depend on him. Fi smiles with confidence and makes it clear their bond must be mutual. She insists she is fine being used as a tool, but he refuses to see her as anything less than a companion. Touched by his words, she accepts and promises to stand with him as a true ally. The Hero King then steps forward and asks what the group should do next. Fi states their first priority is to report to the guild that the S-rank monster has been defeated. Bren chooses to wait outside, knowing adventurers will celebrate the dungeon being cleared. Fi is puzzled by why his allies are not joining him, but they explain it is better to remain unseen since they do not belong to this land. He admits their reasoning is sound and waves confidently before walking to the guild alone. His companions watch him go. Tyuko pouts in disappointment that she cannot follow. Inside the guild hall, Fi is greeted with stunned faces from the party that had abandoned him. Their leader demands to know how he is alive. Fi plays innocent and questions why they look so shocked. Another adventurer explains that Azet's party had been spreading the tale that he was killed by an S-rank monster. Smiling brightly, Fi declares that not only did he survive, but he also defeated the beast. The group freezes in disbelief. The guild hall erupts in chaos as adventurers whisper and argue over the revelation. Azet's group stammers and demands to know who he claims killed the monster. Fi feels exhilarated, recognizing this as the moment he always dreamed of. Murmurs spread through the crowd about a new legendary hero. Fi smirks with confidence and boldly announces that he is the one who eliminated the S-rank threat. The hall falls silent again. His former party quickly accuses him of lying, insisting a porter could never defeat such a creature. Fi calmly responds that if someone else had slain it, that person would be the one standing here giving the report. His simple logic leaves everyone speechless and forces them to consider his claim. Moments later, the guild erupts into wild cheers, celebrating the rise of a new hero. Adventurers surround him with questions, praising his strength and wondering if he is now S rank. Overwhelmed, he finally tastes the recognition he longed for through 5 lifetimes. Collapsing in bliss, he savors the joy of feeling overpowered. Silently, he thanks his companions and even the patient guide. From afar, Lululable remarks that her grandfather is speaking without restraint. Tuko laughs at the scene. The hero king roars with joy and declares Fi will treat everyone to dinner. Danchua states calmly that since they were summoned through his power, the victory rightly belongs to him. Outside, his companions chat and tease one another. While waiting as Fi basks in glory, a strong hand grips his shoulder. An intense S-rank adventurer named Lavi steps forward and demands to confirm his story. She promises to personally recommend him for S rank if his claim is true, but admits she doubts him. She then explains a simpler method exists: inspecting the monster's remains. Fi grows uneasy. Without warning, Lavi points her weapon at him and challenges him to a fight, mocking him with the claim that if he truly killed an S-rank beast, he should have no problem facing her. Fi panics inside, knowing he has no chance against such a renowned warrior. His mind races for excuses. Even pretending to be sick feels better than being humiliated in battle. The cheers of the guild echo in his head, reminding him of the glory he just gained. After a tense silence, Fi forces a confident smile and accepts the challenge. He declares he will show the strength of the hero who defeated the S-rank monster. His companions watch from a window with reactions ranging from excitement to shock. But inside he is terrified. Victory is impossible. Then a desperate idea strikes him. He realizes he does not need to win. He only needs to make it look convincing. His memories race. Through 5 lifetimes searching for something useful, he settles on 2 skills: unlock and clairvoyance, hoping they will be enough. Lavi grows impatient and urges him to pick up a weapon, but Fi stays still, committing to his risky plan. Armed with only a simple tool, he knows this is his one chance. With desperate resolve, he charges forward, shouting loudly. Lavi stands calm and unshaken, watching his reckless rush. Fi secretly activates his clairvoyance, peering into the future to read her every movement. His vision shows her blinding speed and a clear image of his own defeat. Even with foresight, his body is far too slow to keep up. A sudden thought sparks in his mind. Instead of reacting to the future, he will step outside of it. Trusting her predictable and perfect form, he sidesteps at the exact instant, slipping past her lightning-fast strike. Now within reach, he moves to the second and far riskier part of his plan. Knowing he cannot overpower her directly, he makes an unexpected play, using her own momentum against her. He twists the scene to appear as if he is forcing her back. Rather than striking Lavi herself, he reaches for the clasps of her heavy armor. To the crowd, it looks like a daring assault. But in truth, his focus is on the locks that hold her gear together. Confusion flashes across Lavi's face, unsure if he even touched her. In that instant, Fi unleashes his true card. The unlock skill. With a jolt, her legendary armor snaps open and crashes to the ground. The guild erupts in shock. No one can understand how a simple wooden weapon could break an S-rank warrior's armor. Inside, Fi grins. His gamble worked to perfection. He explains with mock confidence that he used his ability to strike through her defenses, timing a slash to disguise the effect as raw power. The crowd gasps in disbelief. Lavi, however, remains composed. She rises calmly and points out he never actually landed a hit. Fi stiffens as his bluff is caught. In truth, he never intended to harm her, only to stage a convincing performance. Lavi smirks knowingly. She had already seen through the trick, yet instead of calling him a fraud, she praises him, giving his act a passing grade. Fi stands bewildered, unable to grasp why she is conceding so easily. She explains that whether through strength or gale, a duel is decided by its outcome. He had dodged her blade and stripped her armor without her noticing. That alone is proof of skill. Her words ignite the guild into a frenzy. Chants of his name fill the hall as adventurers celebrate the rise of a new hero. The guild receptionist steps forward with an official announcement. Her voice carries over the cheers. She acknowledges that Fi's display has stunned everyone. At the counter, he tries to play it cool, casually claiming that his power comes from dedication and hard work. The receptionist then delivers shocking news. The guild intends to nominate him for S rank, but there is a condition. Before the promotion, he must complete 3 A rank quests. She reminds him with a cheerful tone that he has already cleared 2 while working with his old party. With a sly smile, she presents the final trial, an A-rank mission that requires the elimination of a monster threatening the Comoria Empire. Fi scans the quest details and his stomach sinks. It reads less like a hunt and more like a large-scale invasion. Her voice lowers as she reveals that 2 skilled A-rank parties had already attempted the mission and were wiped out completely. The guild is now debating whether to raise it to S rank. His face pales as the truth settles in. His last trial is an impossible task in disguise. The receptionist confirms his fear with an unsettling smile. She insists that after his victory against the S-rank monster, he is the only adventurer suited for this challenge. The crowd roars in agreement. Trapped by the weight of expectation, Phi forces a grin, raises his thumb in shaky confidence, and accepts the mission. Though inside he knows he has just walked into certain doom. Phi leaves the guild with a heavy heart. But just as he steps outside, a familiar voice calls out, stopping him in his tracks. To his surprise, his companions are waiting. Ludable remarks on Lavi's kindness. Phi agrees nervously, while the Hero King watches the moment with a sharp gaze. Tyuko eagerly asks if they are heading straight to the Komoria Empire. Phi explains he still has paperwork to finish, so they have some time to spare. He hands over a bag of money, and the Hero King blinks in confusion. Phi clarifies that it is Bren's share of the monster reward, leaving him stunned. After a long pause, the Hero King reluctantly accepts, admitting it is a fair split. Then with a sly grin he reveals a town pamphlet he picked up, suggesting they explore together. Before he can finish, Ludable rushes to stop Phi from giving away so much money. Tyuko quickly drags Bren off while he argues that this is how fortunes are made. Phi turns him down without hesitation and entrusts the reward to the dependable Manhwa River. Instead, Ludable and Tyuko glance back, wondering why they are not getting a share. Phi calmly tells them they already wasted theirs on something useless. The realization makes them fall silent. With the money issue settled, Phi parts ways with his group. Later, as he looks out a window, he reflects on his new companions. A memory stirs in his mind, a lesson from somewhere he cannot place. He realizes that a team of nothing but powerhouse cleanup hitters is dangerous. Worry creeps in as he imagines his friends accidentally leveling the town. While he is away, meanwhile, Tyuko asks where they should go first, casually giving Manhwa River the nickname Chueri. Confused at first, she listens as Tyuko explains her full name is too long. The group quickly agrees the shorter name fits, especially since she now holds all the money. Manhwa River admits she has no idea how to spend her time, having only known the silence of the ruins. Tyuko offers to give her a grand tour. The Hero King cheers for the idea, touched by their kindness. Manhwa River accepts, while Luyable flies above, promising to share her favorite places. The moment Tyuko raises her hand, she declares the first stop, pulling them into a clothing shop and insisting on a shopping spree. The shopkeeper greets them warmly. Tyuko beams with excitement as she takes charge of finding a new outfit for Manhwa River, pointing out that, while she is cute, her ancient clothes are far outdated. With arms full of outfits, Tyuko ushers her toward the fitting room for a makeover. Inside, Lulubal and Bren notice the surprising elegance of the room. Then the curtain opens in a dramatic reveal. Manhwa River steps out in a stunning new dress, Tyuko proudly presenting her transformation. Lulubal and the Hero King freeze in awe, completely struck by her beauty. Tyuko, however, is not finished. She continues the fashion show with outfits ranging from sharp and bold to soft and frilly. In one outfit, Manhwa River quietly blushes, wondering if Phi would approve. The group cheers that her new style is perfect and certain to impress him. But the joy is short-lived. The beautiful dress suddenly tears apart, leaving both Tyuko and Manhwa River stunned. Tyuko's smile vanishes. She warns her not to wear that again, quickly snatching the ruined dress away, refusing to let her rival gain Faye's attention. Bren and Lulubal tease Tyuko, suggesting she shop for herself instead. Flustered, she turns away in defeat. As they leave the shop, a frantic employee discovers the shredded dress. Horrified, she reveals it was crafted from rare wyvern leather, a material said to be indestructible by monster or adventurer. Crushed by the loss, she swears vengeance on the crooked supplier who sold her such faulty goods. Back on the street, Tyuko asks what their next stop will be. Lulubal steps forward with sparkling eyes. She points toward the grand entrance of a massive bookstore. With a graceful spin, she declares this is their next destination. The warm scent of ink and parchment fills the air. She explains that books are the best way to understand the heart of a world. Manhwa River grows nervous before the endless shelves. Unsure if she can read such complex texts, Lulubal comforts her by choosing a picture book about a fairy queen. Inviting her to read together, soon Manhwa River becomes absorbed in the tale, while Lulubal wipes tears from her eyes, moved by the ending. She turns eagerly to hear Manhwa River's thoughts. Blushing softly, Manhwa River admits she found the story enchanting. Delighted, Lulubal gathers a towering stack of books. Deciding to buy them all, the clerk thanks them for the purchase, though another worker watches nervously, wondering if a cursed book will return. The shop owner explains it drains mana from readers, always reappearing on its shelf. He smirks that despite the danger it remains a bestseller. Just then his colleague delivers shocking news. Louisville has already finished reading the entire cursed book aloud without pause. The shop owner stares in silence, too stunned to respond. Outside, the group lugs their haul of clothes and books. Bren complains about how much money has been spent, looking exhausted. Then with a sudden spark, he declares their next destination. A casino. With wild eyes, he promises to win back everything in one gamble. When Danchua River questions the plan, he proudly explains that his shouting will disrupt the casino's anti-cheating system. The Hero King spins the roulette wheel with dramatic flair. Placing everything on a single number, Louisville advises the calm Danchua River to ignore the ramblings of a gambling addict. The wheel slows, the ball lands, and both the Hero King and Danchua River stare in disbelief as the number matches their bet. The Hero King erupts into a wild celebration, coins raining around him from his reckless win, but his joy ends as a shadowy figure creeps up. Behind him with a blade drawn, Louisville points out that the Hero King only copied Danchua River's choice. Tyuko smirks and admits she was secretly hoping he would lose. The furious loser demands the winnings, but the Hero King glares back with sharp teeth bared, hypocritically telling the man to earn his own fortune. Louisville watches with an amused grin. The robber drives them into a dark alley, insisting their excuses mean nothing. Once again he demands the gold, but the Hero King only looks tired of the entire scene. His hand rests on his sword as Tyuko and Louisville narrow their eyes, ready for a fight. In one swift motion, the Hero King draws his legendary blade, prepared to strike. The robber shouts and charges head-on, but Tyuko gasps when she sees the Hero King is not the one making the move. The attacker is suddenly lifted into the air, his energy ripped away by a force no one can see. His weapon turns to dust as his body collapses. The Hero King stares in disbelief, realizing another power has intervened. Standing over the defeated man, he growls that he has had enough of this nonsense. Two young siblings rush to the fallen figure, their voices filled with fear. They explain they gave him all their savings in the hope he could buy medicine for their sick mother, but it is still not enough to save her. Despair twists the man's face as he realizes his failure. Elsewhere, Phi stands alone. When the Hero King calls his name, he turns calmly, only to be tackled by Tyuko and the Hero King in a noisy reunion. Louisville and Danchua River join them. Smiling as the group finally gathers again, Danchua River thanks them warmly, saying she truly enjoyed the wonders of the town. Tyuko laughs about their reckless shopping spree, while the Hero King looks satisfied with their day together. Phi gazes over the quiet streets with a faint smile. Realizing his earlier fears of disaster were meaningless, he declares they will rest for the night and set out for the Comoria Empire tomorrow. Far away in a vast hall, a cloaked servant kneels before a throne. The Imperial Knight Commander sits upon it, listening to the report of a carefully laid scheme meant to lure adventurers. From the shadows, another figure steps forward, praising the subordinate for arranging everything without flaw. The Knight Commander speaks in a dark voice, announcing that the next sacrifice will soon be prepared. The scene shifts to Phi, who is screaming in terror. Tyuko is carrying him at breakneck speed, ignoring his desperate cries to be put down. As their destination comes into view, Louisville teases him with a laugh, suggesting she might just drop the Hero King right then and there. They finally arrive and gaze out over the vast Comoria Empire. Louisville admires the breathtaking city, while Phi struggles to catch his breath. After their dizzying trip, Louisville reminds the group that their mission is to defeat the monsters threatening the Empire. Phi feels a surge of joy, realizing this quest is his last step toward earning the S rank. As they walk the city streets, they notice something strange. There is no sign of damage despite the supposed siege. Phi decides their first move is to meet the Knight Commander, who issued the request. Together they approach the towering Imperial Castle, its walls and spires rising high above them. Tyuko takes the lead, loudly announcing their arrival. A unit of knights approaches to greet them formally. At the top of the grand staircase, a man in ornate armor introduces himself as Mihal, commander of the Imperial Knights. Phi steps forward with pride, introducing himself and stating they have come to accept the mission. One by one, his companions introduce themselves with eager confidence. With a sly smile, the commander gestures to a nearby chamber, declaring it is time for their monster subjugation strategy meeting. He confirms that Phi is the leader, and Phi agrees with nervous pride. Thrilled at the chance to take part in a professional planning session, Phi can hardly contain himself. The atmosphere turns formal as they enter. The commander serves the finest tea of the Comoria Empire to everyone except Phi, giving a weak excuse that the room is too small and that the other should wait. Tyuko grumbles at being left out. The Hero King happily sips his drink. The rest of the group watches the commander closely as he leads Phi down the corridor. As they walk, the commander begins his explanation of the threat. He calls the monster Rob, Showing a glitch-like image of a young girl, Fi frowns at the unimpressive name, compared to the fearsome beasts he has faced before. But the commander insists Rob is beyond anything the knights could handle. Fi grows suspicious, pointing out that if the monster is so deadly, then why does the city remain unharmed? The commander's eyes harden as he admits Rob demanded a condition in exchange for peace. With a chilling smile, he reveals the truth. The monster demanded regular human sacrifices. Fi freezes in shock, his voice trembling as he asks if they truly sacrifice their own people. The commander shakes his head coldly, saying that citizens must be protected. The real sacrifices are the adventurers lured here under false pretenses. Fi's stomach sinks as the trap becomes clear. The commander bathes himself in righteous light. Declaring his betrayal is for the survival of the Empire, he tells Faye not to resent what must happen. Then he raises his sword and unleashes a holy technique. A blinding flood of light fills the hall. Fi's clairvoyance fails him. The strike comes too fast to foresee. The blast hurls him across the chamber, leaving him barely conscious. Looming over him, the commander explains the attack was not meant to kill. The monster Rob demands her sacrifices alive. Meanwhile, back at the table, Tyuko smirks as Imperial Knights close in around the group. She calmly reveals their tea was poisoned. The Hero King recoils in disbelief. A knight confirms their treachery, demanding they surrender and accept their fate as sacrifices. Louisville chuckles that since the knights are not monsters, perhaps she should go easy. Danchua River admits she may struggle to restrain her full strength. The nervous knights give a final warning, unaware of the legendary powers they are about to provoke. Tyuko scoffs at the idea of a real fight, making it clear this is nothing more than brushing off some dust. Meanwhile, Fi lies on the floor groaning from the crushing blow he received. He slowly regains his senses and finds himself bound on a strange altar in the middle of a vast empty chamber. The cold voice of the knight commander echoes through the hall, revealing that this is the sacrificial chamber prepared for the monster Rob. The commander calmly declares that Fi's companions will soon arrive to join him as offerings. The knights try to justify their betrayal by claiming it is the only way to safeguard the Komore Empire. Fi lets out a sharp grin and mocks their twisted duty, clapping his hands in sarcastic applause. Unimpressed by their excuses, the commander steps closer, claiming full responsibility for the grim choice. Fi grits his teeth, furious at himself for falling into such an obvious trap, though he takes a bitter comfort in knowing they need him alive for the ritual. Scanning the chamber, he forces himself to trust in his companions, but doubt gnaws at him. His confidence shakes as he questions his so-called overpowered status. Shame rises heavy in his chest. He was tricked, captured, and is now waiting helplessly to be saved. A harsh voice cuts through his thoughts, scolding him for his weakness, calling it pathetic to wait for rescue. His resolve hardens. Even if he is weak, he will act strong. With a fierce cry, he shatters his restraints and rises free, declaring that this is his true meaning of being overpowered. The knight commander stares wide-eyed as Fi smirks, casually hinting that his power comes not from mercy, but from a harsher god. The commander wonders if this sudden strength is divine blessing, then dismisses the idea with a shake of his head. The source does not matter. He raises his holy blade and vows that Fi will never leave the sacrificial chamber. Fi answers calmly, saying he cannot judge the morality of their desperate choice, but warns they have made a mistake that will cost them dearly. The knight commander demands an explanation. Faye's gaze sharpens as he reveals they have just provoked someone far more dangerous than the monster Rob. Before the commander can reply, a knight stumbles into the chamber with an urgent report. He gasps that a single adventurer is tearing through the palace, then collapses to the floor battered and barely alive. The scene shifts to reveal the Hero King standing tall over a pile of fallen knights. The remaining guards freeze in terror, trembling before his unstoppable might. Above the chaos, Louisville hovers with a smirk, making it clear that the knights have no one to blame but themselves. Knight commander remains calm and dismissive, ordering his men to deal with the intruders while he faces Fi alone. He assures them he will join once finished, preparing for a duel with confidence. Fi braces himself ready for a clash, yet in the very next instant he is hurled into a wall, completely defeated. The knight commander remarks with certainty that Fi will not escape this time. Humiliation stings as Fi realizes how foolish he looks after his bold words. Pinned to the wall by daggers, he forces himself up, stubbornly demanding another round. The knight commander ignores him, confident the outcome will never change. Growing impatient, he decides to fetch the sacrifices himself, wondering why his soldiers have not returned. Meanwhile, in the guest room, Tyuko's usual playful nature hardens into icy fury. Back in the chamber, a sudden presence shakes the air. A mysterious figure with beast-like ears storms in, furious about the missing sacrifices. She glares at the Knight Commander, demanding why he brought only one instead of four. Terrified, he stammers the name of his master, Lord Rob. Fi watches in shock, realizing Rob is not a mindless beast, but a powerful humanoid, far beyond the Knight's control. The Knight Commander trembles, begging forgiveness. Rob casually orders him to collect the rest of the sacrifices, but her patience is thin. She decides to take some of his men as payment, ignoring his desperate pleas. Before leaving, she warns that failure again will force her to claim innocent citizens. Pinned to the wall, Fi is mocked as Rob notes at least one captive was delivered. He taunts the commander, asking if he fears someone so deceptively cute. Rob pays no attention, making it clear such words have no effect. The Knight Commander grits his teeth, deciding words are useless. He channels everything into one final holy beam. Rob turns toward the blast, her face shifting from surprise to annoyance. With a flick of her wrist, she deflects the devastating attack effortlessly. Both Fi and the Knight Commander freeze, stunned by her sheer strength. Rob questions his foolishness for striking her, then steps forward and delivers a crushing blow. The Knight Commander is sent crashing through a wall. Rob comments that she held back, yet still launched him across the chamber. Seizing the moment, Fi breaks free from his restraints, staring at the fallen Knight Commander and his defeat in a single strike. He charges at Rob with determination, believing he can succeed where the commander failed. His punch drives forward with all his might. Yet Rob halts it with one hand, dismissing him coldly. She explains that if he could not defeat the Knight Commander, he has no hope against her. In the blink of an eye, she vanishes from his sight and slams him into the wall alongside the commander. At that moment, Lulubelle arrives. Her presence shakes the chamber. She apologizes calmly, blaming a small injury for her delay. Rob studies her and mocks the notion that she is another sacrifice. Then, without warning, Rob surges forward, unleashing a devastating kick. The explosion tears through the chamber, blasting air and stone. Fi stares in disbelief as Rob is sent flying into rubble. Yet in an instant, Lulubelle is sealed inside a crystalline prison. Rob dismisses her strength, but Lulubelle explains it is not divine power, merely an ordinary spell. Rob studies her, puzzled by the lack of chanting or circles. Lulubelle smiles unfazed, revealing her unique craft. Every step, every gesture, every blink is part of her chant. With a wink, she shatters the prison. Rob is left speechless, unable to comprehend. A blinding light erupts as Lulubelle continues her casting. A massive beam of energy bursts from the Imperial Castle into the sky. Fi and the Knight Commander stand frozen by the overwhelming force. Rob is struck and blasted away, intrigued rather than wounded. Lulubelle calmly explains that normally skipping a chant causes failure, but against this foe she will no longer hold back. Rob gathers her might, unleashing a devastating strike that collides with Lulubelle, knocking her back. She recovers quickly as Rob grins mischievously, appearing behind her. Rob heals her broken arm mid-battle, praising Lulubelle and admitting she underestimated her opponent. Lulubelle smiles undeterred, her healing magic making wounds meaningless. She retaliates with power, leaving Rob stunned that her seemingly fatal strike had no effect. Fi realizes Lulubelle's regeneration far surpasses his own. From the rubble, Rob rises, ready to fight without restraint. Lulubelle mirrors her resolve. Her aura surges with fierce energy. She steps forward and the chamber erupts. A massive strike tears across the room. Rob recognizes the spell and rushes to intercept. Her shoes crumble as the sheer force channels through her body. A blazing circle glows behind her. Rob braces as the spell collides with devastating impact. The explosion blinds the chamber. Rob struggles against the relentless storm of magic. Lulubelle steps again and Rob is blasted backward. She summons a jagged wall of ice, but another step unleashes fire that burns it to ash. Rob is struck again and again, unable to counter. Trapped within a torrent of impossible spells, horror grows in her eyes as she realizes Lulubelle's magic defies all rules. With one final crushing step, Lulubelle unleashes a spell so overwhelming Rob collapses defeated. The feared monster lies broken, while Lulubelle calmly declares the quest complete. After the battle, Fi approaches Lulubelle, praising her for turning a deadly fight into something that looked effortless. Lulubelle smiles, gently healing his wounds with a touch. Her magic closes every injury, leaving not a single scar. Fi stands amazed, unable to hide his awe. She gives him a playful wink, reminding him that healing has always been her true strength. Fi grows emotional, remembering how in their past life her uncontrolled power once destroyed homes. He reflects with pride on her rare ability to use physical movements as incantations. He proudly claims that his granddaughter is a prodigy, still refusing to rely on chance. Lulubelle brushes off the praise, insisting her real talent lies in healing. She admits she is not as skilled as her mother, yet urges Fi to keep praising her. Fi shouts that she is the strongest and raises a grateful thumbs up, thankful she saved them all. Lulubelle answers his thanks with a bright smile, happy to help. She embraces Phi, assuring him he can always rely on her. Phi feels embarrassed about needing rescue from his granddaughter again, but she comforts him, saying there is nothing wrong with it, reminding him that in this world they are family. Across the ruined chamber, faint movement stirs as Rob slowly regains consciousness. Phi casually remarks that she was knocked out cold, leaving her flustered and humiliated. Rob looks down in shock, realizing every wound on her body is gone. Lulubelle calmly explains she not only healed her, but also erased her old scars. Rob grows bewildered, questioning why her enemies would help her at all. Phi and Lulubelle stand over her with sharp stares, making it clear they want answers. Lulubelle's sweet smile turns sharp as she asks if Rob will speak. Rob trembles like a child, once feared, now broken. Phi begins the interrogation, demanding to know why she kidnapped humans. Rob insists she knows little, claiming she only followed orders. She recalls fragments of a plan to recreate a stolen demon relic, possibly a mask. She shrugs off her importance, describing herself as nothing more than a grunt. Phi can hardly believe someone so strong could be considered an underling. Rob speculates that demons might be using human sacrifices as experiments for revenge. Lulubelle quickly realizes this means the missing adventurers might still be alive. Rob confirms with a smug tone, saying the captives remain safe for now. Phi and Lulubelle decide their next step is to seek answers at the guild. At his command, Lulubelle binds Rob instantly, leaving her struggling in frustration. As they prepare to leave, the wounded knight commander calls out, stopping them. He asks why he is not being arrested alongside Rob. Phi looks back, confused, questioning why they would even consider it. The commander insists on punishment, admitting again that he betrayed the adventurers. Phi waves it off, barely remembering the betrayal, and says he has already moved on. Lulubelle gives him a knowing look, understanding he acted to protect his nation. Rob mutters that the missing adventurers are alive, too weak to serve as sacrifices. The commander is left stunned by their lack of anger. Phi offers a casual wave, admitting he respects the difficult choice the commander made, and reveals his true reason for forgiveness, simply avoiding the burden of writing a lengthy report. With a cheerful farewell, the group leaves, dragging their captive. The commander stands among the shattered ruins, confused, emotional, yet grateful. He calls out to Phi, thanking him sincerely as they walk away. The scene shifts to the Adventurers Guild, their next destination. Inside, guild members discuss Faye, noting he is on a mission in the Comoria Empire. They prepare to share important news with him when he returns. A smug adventurer interrupts, hinting at a special event soon to come. Meanwhile, others quietly express their hopes in Phi, calling him the rising star of the guild. The event is soon revealed, a grand tournament to be held in the Colosseum. Unaware of the spectacle ahead, Phi and his companions stroll together, laughing as they drag their captive behind them. From the shadows, a subordinate and several powerful adventurers watch in silence, waiting for what comes next. Back at the guild, the receptionist warmly thanks Phi for completing the Comoria Empire quest. She promises the guild will continue searching for the kidnapped adventurers, and Phi gives his word to help. She asks Lulubelle to keep the restraints on their prisoner Rob for now. With the formalities settled, she finalizes his reward. Phi is presented with his new S-rank adventurer card, officially marking his promotion. His hands tremble as he takes the long-awaited card. Overcome with joy, he raises it high and shouts in triumph. A crowd gathers cheering and congratulating him, filling the guild hall with excitement. The celebration ends abruptly when fellow adventurers invite him to join the upcoming guild competition. Phi suddenly remembers the annual contest is about to begin. This year the prestigious event is set in the Royal Duchy, at the breathtaking flower capital of the Flax Domain. Phi wonders why the venue has changed, since it was always held at the guild training grounds. An adventurer explains that the prize is the Mask of Transcendence, a legendary heirloom said to grant immense power, once used to defeat countless demons. Phi's thoughts race as he realizes this is the very mask Rob was searching for. His determination ignites, seeing this as his chance to gain true strength on his own. Around him, some adventurers whisper doubts about the Flax family's unusual generosity in offering such a relic. Their talk is cut short by a sudden arrival. A mysterious masked woman appears, calling out for someone named Lavi, hinting at a new contender. Phi approaches her with excitement, hoping she will join his side. But his hope falters when Lavi bluntly refuses to enter the competition. She dismisses the idea, saying she has no interest in the nobles' games. She adds that even if she did join, their team would stand no chance of winning. Phi protests, reminding her of the 3-on-3 format and how they need her strength. But Lavi explains the truth. Rumors say legendary SS rank adventurers will compete this year. Phi's confidence collapses. The title SS rank carries a weight that feels impossible to challenge. These are figures said to hold power rivaling even summoned heroes. Lavi voices her dislike for SS ranks, questioning why they would suddenly appear now. Fi points out they never joined in the past, but she turns away, warning him to stay out of it. Fi wonders if fear is the real reason behind her decision. Suddenly, his passion flares. He argues that her hatred of them is the very reason they must fight. Defeating an SS rank and claiming the mask would bring not only fame, but also a greater purpose. He urges everyone never to let fear dictate their path. His words stir the surrounding adventurers, who cheer him on. Yet Lavi remains unmoved, walking away as Fi desperately calls after her. Refusing to give up, he chases her down. He realizes that the Mask of Transcendence might be the key to rescuing the kidnapped adventurers. Hearing this, Lavi halts, demanding he explain. Fi reveals that the demon's true mission was to recreate a stolen relic, the same mask offered as the prize. If they win it, they could trade it for the captive's freedom. Lavi pauses, her mind torn between doubt and hope. Fi insists this may be their only chance to guarantee everyone's safe return. She grabs him by the collar, accusing him of trickery. He denies it, urging her to confirm the truth with Rob. At last she releases him, reluctantly agreeing to compete. Her resolve hardens as she commits to fighting for victory. Fi erupts with joy, thrilled by her decision, while Lavi admits their odds are slim. Still, she places her trust in Fi, sensing a rare strength in him. Watching the other confident challengers, she quietly wonders if her trust was misplaced. The crowd grows curious, asking who will be their third member. An adventurer mentions that the mage Nikoru has already agreed to join. Lavi accepts this, noting that having the strongest A rank on their side is the right choice. Before leaving, she tells Fi to inform the party of the change in plans. Since they depart for the Flax domain tonight, Fi agrees, already thinking of his companions. Meanwhile, Tuco and Lulabelle overhear news of the competition. Tuco declares firmly that if Fi is walking into danger, she will be with him no matter what, refusing to back down from her resolve. Elsewhere, Fi and Lavi arrive in the flower-filled city of the Flax domain. Faye marvels at its grandeur and architecture, noticing adventurers from many guilds gathering for the event. Curious, he asks where their third teammate, Mage Nikoru, is. Lavi explains that Nikoru is traveling separately and will meet them at the tournament venue. Eager to begin, Fi urges them to move ahead. Lavi steps forward with calm resolve, ready for the challenges to come. Meanwhile, another adventurer group makes its way through the city. Among them is Duster, who loudly praises the city's vastness, embarrassing his companions. One of them snaps at him for drawing attention. Their third member, a shirtless monk, steps in to calm the tension, but the girl criticizes his lack of clothing. The monk defends his bare chest proudly, calling it proof of their guild's strength. Irritated, the girl orders them to stop wasting time and head for the venue. Soon a massive crowd blocks their path. The girl scolds her companions for slowing them down. Seeing no easy way through, Duster points upward and suggests they take the direct route. The trio leaps into the air, stunning onlookers as they run through the sky, using the secret martial art known as the Silver Fist. Whispers spread quickly as people realize the one leading them is none other than the legendary SS rank adventurer, Duster. Duster soon spots the registration desk but collides midair with an unseen obstacle. He crashes to the ground in a heap. Standing over him is Tuco, cheerful and unharmed. She waves kindly and asks if he is all right, while Duster, still dazed, asks the same of her. From above, his companions watch in shock at Tuco's durability. Intrigued, Duster points at her, eager to know if she is an adventurer. Tuco admits, and a wide grin spreads across his face as he senses her strength. He introduces himself, and Tuco casually introduces herself as Nikoru. Excited, Duster challenges her to a quick spar, ignoring the girl's warnings that they should be registering. He insists it will be just one punch to test her power. Bracing himself with a grin, he prepares for the strike. Losing patience, the girl tries to pull him away. But at that moment, Tuco's casual punch connects with devastating force. The impact sends Duster flying backward, tearing the cobblestones apart. Tuco stares at her fist in surprise, realizing her light punch carried far more strength than she intended. The legendary adventurer smashes into a building, leaving a trail of rubble. His companion freezes in shock, speechless at the display. Tuco waves cheerfully, announcing she is heading for registration, then walks off calmly, unfazed by the destruction. The girl finally calls out to Duster, while the monk admits the outcome was unexpected. Suddenly Duster bursts from the rubble, roaring with excitement. Thrilled to face such strength outside of the SS ranks, he declares he is glad to enter the tournament. He promises that if fate pits him against Nikoru's guild, he wants to face Tuco one-on-one. The monk agrees, while the girl warns him not to underestimate her again. Full of energy, Duster accepts, eager for the chance to fight her properly. The girl, annoyed by his loud boasting, orders him to be quiet, but his voice only grows louder. At the same time, Phi, Lavi, and their team arrive, apologizing casually for the delay. Lavi remarks that Nikoru has finally shown up. Phi then notices a small adventurer in a witch hat. His eyes widen as he sees the horns and tail, realizing their new teammate is a dragon Onken. A smug grin crosses his face, already recognizing the familiar traits. Lavi heads off to register their team, Guild number 47, Glaze Shield, for the tournament. Phi then realizes that Nikoru is actually Tyuko disguised in an oversized witch hat and borrowed costume. When he questions her choice of outfit, Tyuko cheerfully explains she wanted to join the fun and borrowed the clothes from someone named Nikoru. Phi chooses not to ask further, and Tyuko reassures him in her own playful way. Gazing at the massive Colosseum, Phi admits that with Tyuko at his side, even facing an SS rank opponent no longer feels impossible. The team rallies together, determined to claim victory. Just as Phi and Tyuko turn to leave, someone calls his name. A new armored adventurer rushes over, thrilled to have found him. Phi recognizes her as Frodi, though her sudden arrival leaves both him and Tyuko stunned. Frodi explains her choice of armor, saying she dressed in her finest because she knew he would be here. Before Phi can respond, Tyuko interrupts with suspicion, demanding to know who Frodi is. The girl introduces herself as Frodi, an adventurer from the Shadow Guard Guild. Tyuko remains unconvinced, focusing on Phi and pressing for an explanation. Frodi proudly declares Phi as her benefactor and life mentor, the one who saved her from a path of crime. She admits she lost track of him after he vanished, but always hoped to join his guild. With a bright smile, Frodi instead invites Phi to join her guild. Tyuko instantly refuses, standing protectively in front of him, making it clear she will never hand him over. Frodi counters that he would be safer and could grow stronger under her banner. The brim of Tyuko's oversized hat hides her eyes, but the shadow across her face makes her glare unmistakable, the tension rising toward an inevitable clash. The air grows heavier as both women lock eyes, neither willing to back down. Phi, caught between them, tries desperately to defuse the rivalry. Frodi proposes a wager. If her guild wins the tournament, Phi must join them. Tyuko rejects the offer outright, pushing instead for a fight here and now. Frodi refuses, concerned for the surrounding crowd. The tension peaks as dark energy swirls around them. In an instant, Frodi vanishes and reappears behind Tyuko, blade ready for a decisive strike. Phi freezes in shock at her impossible speed, but a sharp impact rings out, sending Frodi staggering backward. She stares wide-eyed as Tyuko admits she is holding back, only out of respect for their shared connection to Phi. Shaken, Frodi begs for her life under the weight of Tyuko's glare. In a chilling display, Tyuko spits out shards of Frodi's broken blade, proof she blocked it with her teeth. Frodi realizes the terrifying gap in power and quickly retreats, proposing to settle things during the official matches. Tyuko furiously accuses her of running away from a real fight. Ignoring her, Frodi turns to Phi with a hopeful smile. Seeking his support, which only fuels Tyuko's anger further, she demands Phi's loyalty to her alone. At that moment, Lavi returns, asking if registration is complete. She notices Frodi and questions Phi about their connection. Phi admits knowing her but quickly turns the question back on Lavi, confused by the strange ties between them all. Lavi finally reveals the truth. Frodi is the fastest adventurer in history to reach the legendary SS rank. The revelation leaves Phi shouting in disbelief. Tyuko places a steady hand on his shoulder, flashing a confident grin. She promises that she will personally defeat Frodi herself. Far from the arena, inside a grand castle of the Flax domain, a darker scheme unfolds. A subordinate kneels before Duke Fraxt, host of the tournament. He reports that a powerful magic circle has been placed on both the arena and the body of the Duke's comatose son. Their preparations are complete. The Duke smirks in approval, praising the work. The subordinate outlines the plan to trigger the circle during the final match. They doubt whether the Duke's son will ever awaken. The Duke remains unfazed, explaining that the finals will be a four-way free-for-all, perfect for their design. The subordinate prays that the boy will awaken, but the Duke coldly insists he must rise as something greater. The goal is to create a being surpassing even SS rankers. The subordinate only cares for payment and leaves without concern for the risk. Alone, the Duke gazes down at his unconscious son, Gil, convinced that this twisted ritual will finally make him worthy of their name. Back at the arena, the crowd roars with anticipation. The announcer's voice booms across the Colosseum, thanking the audience for their patience. With dramatic flair, he declares the official start of the 85th Guild vs. Guild tournament.